Hey everyone, Tommy H here. Just got back from a 10-day silent meditation Vipassana retreat in Hong Kong. I wanted just to share while the memories are still fresh. First, quick intro, not touching any techniques, what exactly I went through. The second is recommendations for those of you considering or have an upcoming one. Third one, my own personal experiences during this retreat, my struggles, what I learned, and some interesting or fun stories that happened to me. First thing, what exactly is Vipassana meditation? It means seeing things for what they really are, focusing heavily on developing an objective, unbiased awareness of the present and the idea of impermanence, or that nothing in life, including life itself, is permanent, it's temporary. By understanding not only the theory, but also experiencing it firsthand for yourself in this retreat, you learn your own truth, you learn how to live a more fulfilling, loving, compassionate, and happy life, which has so many benefits for yourself, for those around you, and for society. It is open to everyone. It doesn't matter what religion you are, where you come from. We all have miseries, hard times. We all desire to be happier. Well, I think everyone would benefit greatly from this program. I don't recommend everyone to do it, or at least not immediately. You have to be in a place in your life where you have the time, the energy, and the discipline to fully commit those entire 10 days. It was very taxing on my body and my mind, and I almost left halfway through on day 4 and day 6. The younger ones left around day 1, day 5. 25% dropped out, and I was the only one under 30 years old who made it. For those 10 days, you're not allowed to talk, have eye contact, you can't read, write, have entertainment, no sexual activities, socializing, exercising, yoga, can't eat meat, can't have a comfortable bed. They give you like a wooden plank and a little thin mattress foam thing. What you can do though is you're allowed to talk to the teacher, which I highly recommend if you have questions about the practice, the theory. You are allowed to walk around within the closed off area. And you do have simple vegetarian food every day for breakfast and lunch, and fruits in the afternoon. We have 11 hours of silent meditation every single day, and 3 of those hours you cannot move your legs if you have pain or numbing or tingling sensations. Couldn't move your hands, couldn't open your eyes. So it's very strict. The thing I want to talk about is the recommendations. So the first thing I would say is definitely do your research, not too much research. It means learn exactly what you're signing up for, look into the facility you're doing it in, because every city that does it, even every cohort is different. Your teacher can be different, the group will definitely be different. Learn what the facility provides. For instance, mine had utensils, bowls, and plates. You definitely need to bring your own towel. They had a little laundry place where you can wash your clothes by hand, hang it up to dry. Know what you're getting yourself into. Definitely go with an open mind. One thing I thought would have helped me is preparing your body beforehand. It's very demanding. You're waking up 4 a.m. every day, sleeping at 9 p.m. So if you've been sleeping late, I would try to adjust your sleep schedule bit by bit so you get used to it. Also, if you drink coffee, alcohol, whatnot, definitely start cutting it back or cutting it out so you don't have a dependency on it or have cravings or withdrawals during it. Also, if you eat a lot like I do, definitely try to eat smaller portions, eat less meat so that your body isn't in complete shock when you arrive. During the time when you feel like you can't take it anymore, just promise yourself you're going to try at least one more day, and I guarantee you'll most likely continue throughout the entire thing. Take advantage of the time with the teacher, ask questions. I had conflicts that I needed to clear, and it definitely helped talking to the teacher. Try to commit and stick to the schedule, be very punctual, give it your all, follow the rules, and you will enjoy. The last thing I would recommend is don't talk to too many people about their personal experiences beforehand, because you don't want it to create bias for your own experience. Everyone has a different experience because we all have different upbringings, different environments we live in. With that, I would say if you're really seriously planning on this, I advise you to stop watching because I'm about to go into my personal experiences. Go give it a try first. If you're still considering, maybe do some research, pause here, you can come back. Going into my experiences, the struggles, the learnings, and stories. I'll start with the struggles. The biggest thing for me and why I was going to leave on day 4 and day 6 was hunger. I eat a lot, multiple times a day, more than 3 times a day. Even before, I had a huge meal at 9 p.m., which is pretty common in Hong Kong for dinner. I think that affected my body because for the first 3 days, I was okay. But day 3 at night, when I went to bed, I was hungry. And I woke up hungry. I couldn't focus for 2 hours until breakfast, and even after breakfast it took time to get over that hunger feeling, which I learned to sort of control later on. But day 6 was also really bad because I got hungry again, I was dehydrated. We were in a room, many other people sleeping on these uncomfortable beds. You're definitely going to hear people snoring, people farting, things are going to smell. It affects you. You will have lack of sleep sometimes, sharing a bathroom. But I got lucky because the guy that was sharing with me, I think he was sharing. Not sure, never saw him use the bathroom. I was trying to figure out if he was a robot. Not once use it, didn't shower, whatever. But I got lucky because he dropped out on day one. Another thing I struggled with was not being able to exercise. I am generally pretty active. Not being able to physically exercise or even do yoga was struggling. I made up for it by just walking a lot after every meal for like 30-40 minutes outside. It was quite nice and peaceful with the nature, but you feel confined because it's a very closed off perimeter. Actually, the entire process is a bit like prison. When the gong rings, you go to a specific place. You have a certain time for food, bedtime, lights out. You couldn't look at your phone. They took your phone in the very beginning. So it's a bit crazy what we put ourselves through, but it was well worth it. I struggled with having the mindset of failing, not being able to finish the entire course and leaving, or like if someone else left, it sort of affected me because it's like, oh no, what happens if I'm next? I don't want to be a failure. But actually, it's okay. People leave for certain reasons, because of mental, because of physical health, whatnot. Someone left because on day 8 they had really bad diarrhea, so you can't really help it sometimes, and it's okay. We also had checkups with the teacher. There was 2 people in my group, myself and another Belgian guy who weren't Cantonese speakers. We did it together, and the first time when we were going over sensations, I couldn't feel anything. And he was like over here, yeah, I felt heat, cold, pressure, tension, heaviness. And I was like, lucky you, I didn't. It made me a bit more competitive, practicing more outside my room. Also, my teacher called me in during lunch. We wear our face masks during it, which was another struggle. I was like, teacher, I can't feel anything. All I can feel is like this moisture from the mask and hard to breathe and it touching my face. And he's like, Thomas, are those not sensations? And I was like, it's about the mindset, not comparing. Once I figured the technique out and was able to sort of analyze my body and my mind, I had this clinging for what I deemed good vibrations. But actually, if you do this process correctly, there's no good or bad. You just observe for what it is. The last struggle I really had was setting additional challenges for myself. I decided I would take this time to not only go vegetarian, but go vegan. So I gave up butter and milk. That only lasted for 5 days. I also tried to do no carbs, no rice or noodles, but that only lasted for 3 days. Also no warm shower. That lasted for 5 days. It got so cold with the rain. Mine was actually broken. In the beginning, I thought everyone had this as part of the, process, but realized later that other people's heaters work, so I asked them on day 6. I also tried to not eat salt or sugar, but later realized my electrolyte balance was off because everything was so bland. Falling asleep, it was tiring. I asked the teacher, he gave me some techniques such as breathing heavy and keeping your back straight and your neck straight when you are feeling drowsy. That helped tremendously. Actually, funny story, first day I was struggling, falling asleep 75% of the time. Second day, before breakfast, I finally did the techniques he said, and I complete 2 hours without falling asleep. Although you would see me a little bit and hear me breathing heavily. I don't know if it was from the lack of sleep, lack of food, going vegan, or the food timetable. We only can eat at 6:30 a.m. and 11 a.m. and fruits at 5 p.m. But after that, I had the most intense stomach pain I've ever had in my life, where I thought I had appendicitis or ulcer or stomach cancer, and I was like, I almost fainted. After that, I passed this weird globby thing. Might be too much information. I took that as a sign that my body started detoxing or getting rid of the negativity that they were talking about the night before. Although I thought initially it was mental, but I guess it could be physical too. Besides that as well, there's bugs everywhere. You're in nature, and you're not allowed to kill things, including mosquitoes, which they love me. One of the biggest lessons we learned from the whole retreat was that our cravings, our desires to want something such as a new car, new house, new job, love, or even wanting people to meet our expectations, which was my struggle I realized in the past, having high expectations not only for my brothers, my parents, my friends, my partners, but myself as well, and not meeting those expectations, not getting that car, not getting that job. It leads to a lot of misery in life. At the same time, aversions, trying to avoid things like avoiding your boss, avoiding people you dislike, avoiding your ex, avoiding a location, whatnot. For me, it was avoiding bees. That also creates misery because once you bump into it, you create all this stress, anxiety, and it multiplies. So that is the biggest lesson I learned, aside from the impermanence that everything is temporary. That happiness you get from the new job, from the relationship, it's also all temporary. So you should just enjoy it while you can. And then all the negative things that you might have, such as you have pain in your legs, you have a bad time going on in your life, one of your loved ones passed away, that's also all temporary as well. And you just have to understand so you can get through it. But going back to the bee story, I've been having nightmares about bees buzzing in my ears. It's waking me up at night with sweats. I've had trouble sleeping and just randomly seeing bees, and it freaks me out. I don't know why. It might have came from my mom's fear of bees. I don't know. But there were a lot of bees in Lantau Island, Tung. And I remember after day 6 where I had this epiphany about cravings and aversions, which I have so many of, and that's literally most of why I'm so miserable in life. It wasn't that big. It's not like alcohol or anything. I quit alcohol a couple of years ago, but bees, they scare me. They're everywhere. I said I need to face my fear. I tried to go outside, and a bee, like, I guess knew this and went at me and then went away. I remember one morning on day 7, I was meditating for the hour long where you couldn't move. I don't know if it's lack of sleep or I fell asleep or what, but I woke up and I had a dream. I thought it was real, I don't know, that a bee opened the door of the meditation hall, came in, went in my ear, and I woke up. My heart was beating super fast. I was sweating. I looked to the left. The freaking door is open, so I don't even know if it's real or not, but I was like, okay, I seriously have to face this. I need to, like, go to a beehive and stand there or something. We need to observe it for what it is, and a bee is just a bee. The next day, first I saved a spider in the room, got it out. I actually saved a lot of bugs throughout the entire thing, like locusts, a lot of spiders, big ones, small ones, ants that were like really big as well, moths. The guy next to me thought I had a pet spider because he's like, you're always there with an animal. I was like, no, every day is a different insect. So after I saved the spider, it actually jumped out of my sock before I went for my daily walk during lunch. And when I came back, I don't know how I didn't step on it, but there was a bee on the floor. And I'm like, okay, this is a sign from the universe or whatnot. Now's the time to face my fears. And so I pick up this cone cup thing and try to get it, but it wouldn't come in. So I was like, actually, no, I need to use my hands. This is the only way. They teach us, if you crave something, you don't get it, so what? If you avoid something, you get it, you need to think, so what? So I was like, okay, if I touch it, it stings me, who cares? So I tried to get it to go on, but I didn't want to go next to it because I was scared I would aggravate it. I tried to use my nail to like tap it a bit, and what it did was it moved forward and like gave me a high five with its front foot and kept moving and then stopped in front of me. And I tried again, and I was more like, okay, just let's go. And it climbed onto my finger, and I'm like, moved it to the outside door. And then it started moving its butt onto my finger like it was about to sting me. And I freaked out a little bit, and then it flew into the net. I opened the net and went away. And I was like, oh my gosh, never imagined I would have done that. And even yesterday, so I got back yesterday. Today's public holiday, it's Buddha's birthday. Decided to go to a 10,000 Buddha monastery in Sha Tin. And coming back down, I'm not Buddhist by the way, but just wanted to go there, check it out. Coming back down, there's a sign for a bee farm. Never seen a bee farm in my life in Hong Kong or anywhere actually. And I was like, you know what? This is a sign again. Let's go check it out. And I went inside. There were bees everywhere. It took a couple minutes hyping myself, but I was like, feel the sensation, feel the aversion, the fear, and just let it dissolve. And I walked through a field of bees and bee farms, bought some honey, supported the guy, and I feel so peaceful after that. So that was one of the crazy experiences I had. Another was that on day 4, when I was struggling with food, I was full. I had a really good meditation because it was the first time I was able to sit cross-legged. You know that feeling you get when you sit too long and it's like numbing, tingling pain? I sat through that. First time in my life. Normally I can only sit for 5-10 minutes before moving or getting tired, falling asleep. And I just had so much great energy. I don't know if I was dreaming again. I felt my great-grandmother's presence during this time, and I think that helped me get through because my family, they come from Cambodia. They had a lot of hardships, but they still managed to survive and still managed to raise their kids, not get too crazy with losing. My grandma had 10 kids, only 3 survived, including my mom. With all this hardship, they still managed to pull forward. And I think a lot of these attributes I learned, they actually knew before, but it's like reading about experience. You don't learn it just from reading, you have to experience it yourself. So this experience, the day before, they were talking about how when your loved one passes, it shouldn't be a tragedy. It should actually be a lesson of impermanence, of mortality, morality, because it teaches you nothing is permanent in life, and that crying is not going to do anything for the loved one. At least tears of sadness. Tears of happiness, that's fine, you enjoy their lives, but you should learn from them and learn to cherish the loved ones that you have alive while you can, and enjoy every moment, because you never know, tomorrow is never promised. So I was just, I don't know, I'm not a crying person, but I had tears down my eyes while I was meditating because I felt her presence there, like, you can do this, don't give up. Your family went through so much, you are not a quitter. And there was so much love from there and just perseverance. I remember she actually taught me these lessons when I was little, because I was fortunate enough to have 4 generations, 1 household growing up, and she passed early on. I remember the day very specifically. I actually thought that it was my fault, because before going to the school bus, she asked me to make her a cup of noodles. She was really hungry. I didn't know how to make noodles or cook back then, but I just put it on, and then I was like, I have to go, great-grandmother, school's about to start. That was the last time I spoke to her before she was in the hospital, had an aneurysm, passed away. But my aunts that were there said it seemed like she knew she was about to pass. And she was like, oh, I'm in pain, take me to the hospital. But that moment was when I promised myself I wouldn't be a scaredy cat or like a chicken, because back then I was really fearful of everything, fearful of experiences. I went on jet ski with my uncle, I was like crying the whole time, I was really scared and wouldn't try new things. But her life taught me to, 1, persevere, but 2, give everything a try. Don't be scared, because tomorrow's not promised. So going back, I started relearning that, and also relearning other things from her, like not wasting things. And finally I understood where it came from. And also that there's a joke that anybody who practices Vipassana, when they die, they don't die unconsciously, they're dying consciously. Oh, this sensation, that sensation. And thinking back, she was a Buddhist. She seemed like she knew she was going and she was okay with it. So that understanding and learnings, it just helped me get through the entire 10 days. And I thought that was really interesting, really nice. I think it was going against what we were being taught about just being aware and not having imagination, but I have strong imagination. Imagine a bunch of things during my time there, of like bugs crawling on me, other people as well. Some funny stories. There were 3 people in the front. They were old students who've done it multiple times, different countries. 4 people in second row, 4 people in my row, which I call the troublesome row, because we're always late, we're always moving around. 4 people in the back row. So our troublesome row, I gave names to everyone, which I probably shouldn't have, but sometimes I was bored. I kept looking at the clock and I was trying to speed time up, because 2 hours is a long time to sit, especially in the beginning. Anyways, next to me was Mr. Game & Watch. Pretty much he like had a smartwatch. Sometimes it was annoying, other times it was very helpful, because I would look at the watch, see how much time we had. He's always like playing with it, checking timer. One time I thought his timer was time, I was so excited because I was like, oh, it's almost time to go, but we had another hour. He actually saved all of us, and I think he saved our row, because first 7 days we were always late, we're always moving. Between him and Sir Snorlax, there's cousin Vinny in the middle. He looks like Vinny from Jersey Shore. Super friendly guy, was my neighbor in the dorm. Sir Snorlax was the first one to snore in the meditation hall. I was the second one. Me and him he's like my spirit animal. We could be best friends. And we've never even spoken a word before. Him and Sir Snorlax literally have 7 pillows, cushions between them, more than everyone else combined. It's quite funny. They also had chairs like thrones. They would set it up and they're very extra. I was trying to be not extra because I'm always extra. Mr. Game & Watch saved us, because day 7, I realized the entire time I thought someone was like snoring very softly, very consistently. It was the damn clock on the wall across the hall. I had the worst seat, by the way, or bed, because I was the first one from the AC, surrounded by people between my head and my tail. Didn't even have space to put my stuff. Anyways, 7th day, he decided to remove the battery. And it was so silent. It was the first time I heard so many people snoring, and this first time I really had a full night's rest was because of him. The next night was even better because this was at like 1 a.m. We were so rested that our row turned from the troublesome row into like the only row to survive the entire 10 days. Going from being the last ones in the hall, getting up all the time, to being the first one every morning for the last 3 days. So it goes to show you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Even bad kids with the right nourishment can become good kids. So much that Sir Snorlax is actually volunteering for the next one. He's the only one in the group doing so. They're very funny, they're very friendly. Sir Snorlax and me get along very well because we're always the first ones in the kitchen and always the last ones out. We really enjoy our food, take our time and digest. And also he inspired me because he wore sunglasses on day 6. And I brought mine, but they're very bright. I thought they would be distracting, not loud. But I saw them, I was like, okay, you know what? Let me live my life. I always wore a hat walking, but today I had sunglasses and a hat. And he had a hat and sunglasses for the first time as well on day 7. So we influence each other, which is quite nice. There's Uncle Iroh behind me. Looks like a Belgian version of Uncle Iroh. We were competing with each other. Also a friendly guy. Twinkle Toes in the front because he would always be the quietest one spending time when he left the room. Whereas Sir Snorlax would like try past him quietly, but after passing Twinkle Toes we'd like be normal stopping. And it's so crazy, our senses develop so much that I can tell who's passing by with my eyes closed based on their footsteps. I started laying out on the cement, just looking at the stars, the clouds, which I highly recommend. I don't know when the last time I was doing that, probably a kid, but it's so nice. One night I was about to do that and I saw something move by. I thought it was a bug. It was a freaking snake. I think people thought I would have made it up, but Twinkle Toes saw it with me, so that was pretty cool. We saw locusts, saw frogs in the gutter, lots of butterflies, geckos, salamanders, a lot of cockroaches. Sir Snorlax on day 7 as well. It was my first time eating butter because I gave up being vegan, and I put so much butter. The bread was like a mode of transportation. It was more butter than anything else. I tried to put salt, but salt wouldn't open because they give you plastic gloves because of COVID to touch everything. I left the salt because it was too lazy, couldn't do it one hand. Turn around, next thing you know, Sir Snorlax has dumped the entire thing of salt in his bowl of kanji, and they're scooping it out. I was like, of course it's either Sir Snorlax or myself. Also, before you go in the kitchen, there's a Dhamma server, super nice. They volunteered time to help us. They had a thermometer in one hand, alcohol spray in a one-hand sprayer thing. He would mix it sometimes. He would try a thermometer in my hand, and on the last day, because I started washing my hands instead of alcohol, I don't like alcohol, it dries out my hands. He almost sprayed me in the face with alcohol, and it chuckled. So that was really funny. Last but not least, learnings. Always focus a lot on I and my. For instance, if you get a watch, they were telling a story that's passed down from generations, whatever, very nice Italian foreign watch, and it breaks. You're like, oh no, it's so miserable, someone stole it. But you see someone else's same design, same watch, it breaks. You don't cry, you don't feel anything. In fact, you might lecture them, oh no, you should be very careful, don't drop it, it's very hard to come by here. But you see, we place so much emphasis on I, my, that we cling, we crave, we attach to it, and when something happens to it, we get miserable. So the sooner we learn that, the better. Same with like money you lost or whatever. The third biggest lesson was this thing called I can't pronounce it. Being equanimous, which means you're observing everything as is, objectively. There's no good or bad, there's no cravings or aversions. And then necha, which is impermanence. Another lesson I learned is that our minds are very fickle. We're always, again, thinking about the past mistakes, the past memories, future, how we can do better, what we planned. But, I mean, you can try now. Pause, close your eyes, and just try to focus on your breath going in and out. I guarantee you, you're going to jump to the past, to the future, to other stuff. And that's what I struggled with. But you can train this. It's a skill. It's like being an athlete. That's what we did the first 3 days, is just train that skill of sharpening our mind for focusing here on the breath, on the sensations before we expanded more. This meditation retreat was not a joke. It's intense. It's more intense than my 21-day hotel quarantine in Hong Kong. So that was something I learned. Another thing is that optimism, realism, and workism is key to success in this retreat, to really anything in life. You have to have a positive perspective on life, but you also be realistic. You also have to accept the negative and the bad. You can't just ignore it. And then you work hard to overcome those, to provide for your family, your dependents, and to do good in life. Something I mentioned previously, don't cry for those who've passed away, your loved ones. Take it as learnings and just enjoy. I remember when my great-grandmother passed away, again, she must have went through this course or had some liberation. She said before she passed, the kids who have sinned me or done most wrong to me are going to be the ones that cry the most at my funeral. Don't cry. You don't need to cry. Like, I know who was there for me when I was alive. Sure enough, the two boys, one, youngest one, never came except to ask for money, and an older one who never really visited, they cried so much, and we're like, come on, why didn't you come visit her while she was alive, you know? It's too late now. So learn from those and cherish time with your loved ones, because you never know. And don't cry for them in sadness. Cry for joy for what they lived for. Embody the good of them. And that leads me to looking at people, whether it be saintly people, Buddha, Jesus Christ, whoever. Try to embody the good attributes of them, and also people in your everyday life, your family, your friends, people you meet, because you can incorporate those and learn. But then also leave at the door any negative aspects. Everything is all about mindset and perspective. You need to have different perspectives because you don't want to stay in one track mind, and also having the right thought and way of approaching things. I realize as well, everyone has a story and lesson to share. Even if you're not talking, I was inspired by the gentleman in front of me. I call him the noble one because he was the only one sitting still the entire time. He's done it 11 times. He's like 67, and it's really incredible. And I was like, whenever I was struggling, I was like, he can do it, I can do it. I want to be like him. So your, not only your presence, but your vibrations, I guess, inspire people, can affect people, change the mood of the room. I don't know if you see people, someone walk in and it brightens up. Same thing, someone with bad mood, negativity walks in, you can feel the negativity. So try to go into situations with more positivity, more compassion, love, and inspire, impact, beneficially affect those around you. Another thing I learned is that, this might be the last thing, 100% of our misery is from our own doing. That includes the cravings and aversions we have, but also how we react to situations and people. When people come at us saying negative things, or we get into a negative situation, most of the misery is actually from our reaction. We get angry, we get frustrated, we do things that we regret. But actually, if you think about it, if someone comes angry to you, why do you have to accept that? You can just leave it, observe it as it is, angry, such as you observe those sensations, and then it slowly dies. You make it lose its power because it's not having an effect on you, and they stay angry. That's their fault. So that's something I struggle with, is when I face situations, I get angry, I get worked up, but really I need to calm myself and just react in a more positive manner, and that will help at least myself be happier and less stressful. So those are some of the lessons I learned. Everyone has different experiences, so you'll definitely have a different learning as well. Some of it will be the same, but I highly encourage, if you're thinking about doing it, definitely do it. Just prepare your mind, prepare your body, and know what you're getting yourself into. If you have any questions on anything, feel free to ask me, message, comments. Also, feel free to share your experiences. I'm definitely going to catch up with friends who have gone through it. Thank you for not telling me your experiences so I can experience myself. I encourage you to be happy, try your best to be a compassionate person, and just do good and spread the love. So thank you so much for listening. Hope you took something out of this, and all the best, and may you all be happy and at peace. Thank you.